Look like Chennedy Carter definitely wants to get out of Chicago. Could she possibly be interested in joining Caitlin Clark in the Fever? That's what we're going to talk about.
Chennedy Carter has made a bombshell that's shaking up the entire WNBA. She's nearly begging to leave the Chicago Sky, and fans are speculating about her next move. Some are even connecting the links to rookie sensation Caitlin Clark's team.
She could want a max contract or want to be a premier player.
In a recent press conference, new Sky coach Tyler Marsh didn't mention Chennedy Carter. She's practically vanished. Fans are asking why is she eager to leave? And what's with the silence? The drama is just beginning. Did you see what Chennedy Carter just did? She delivered a surprise on social media that's got everyone talking.
On her social media, this is on her threads. I don't have a threads, but here we are. She posted this to the world. Let's chat. Drop the WNBA teams you would like to see me sign with next year. Y'all be coaches and GMs anyway. Let's see what you...
What? Kennedy?
WTF Kennedy just straight up asked people which team she should sign with next year. Wait, hold on. Isn't she still with the Chicago Sky? This is wild, folks.
This is wild, folks.
This was real. Ken Swift is actually the person that caught it. Is this true? Yeah, it's true. She really did post this on her social media, which is wild for a player.
Let's back up.
Let's back up for a second. Kennedy's been on fire, putting up major statistics for the Sky. We're talking 17 points per game last season. That's no joke. You'd think the Sky would be doing everything they can to keep a player like that, right? But something's not adding up here.
Chennedy Carter is something that has already been talked about behind the scenes. That is players wanting to get out of Chicago. I don't know what it is going on up there, but right now it ain't looking good. A lot of players want to get the hell out of Chicago.
Here's where things get really bizarre. The new Sky coach Tyler Marsh just had a press conference. He talked about Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso, but guess he didn't even mention, yep, you got it, Chennedy Carter.
And have the most depth and able to get value from top to bottom are the most successful. And so we want Angel and Camila to be successful for sure.
It's like she doesn't even exist to him. What's going on here? He also said this.
Interesting. But the focus thus far has been on players who we know are under contract this coming year, and that's where the communication has been thus far.
Can you read between the lines here? Marsh is basically saying by we don't need you for now. Now you might be thinking, but isn't Kennedy a restricted free agent? And you be right here what others are speculating.
He can play. I'm thinking the Sky already told her they weren't matching her offer, and if she were her agent.
Being a restricted free agent means the Sky may not be able to match her offer with the number 3 selection in the draft. They're afraid to overspend. Remember Marina she left the Sky last year, and she didn't keep quiet about why.
Now, Marina Mabrey, she's already flown the coop on this team, and it was quote-unquote because of culture. And
now Kennedy's pulling this stunt on social media. You've got to wonder, what's really happening in that locker room? Is it just a coincidence, or is there something bigger going on behind the scenes? Here's what we're all dying to know. Is Angel Reese's arrival shaking things up in the Chicago Sky locker room? Because it sure looks like something's changed since she joined the team.
Looking like, to me, from the outside looking in, that these players want to get away from Angel Reese. I just got to keep it real. That's what it's looking like. Chennedy Carter is something that has already been talked about behind the scenes. That is players wanting to get out of Chicago.
Kennedy's post is gone now, but you can guarantee the damage is already done. Fans are going crazy speculating about where she might wind up. Some of the teams they're throwing out there are wild, but the real question we need to address is why is Kennedy so eager to go in the first place?
No, I assumed, I'm not going to lie to you, I assumed the Chicago Sky was going to bring her back. But maybe she wants to leave, which is the most interesting part of it.
So what's next for Chennedy Carter? Is she really on her way out of Chicago? And if she is, where she headed? We're about to dive into all of that and more. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming up next. This story is far from over, and the next twist might be the biggest one yet. Some fans think she's headed next. It's a team that on paper should be the last place she'd ever go, but here's the real kicker. It might just be crazy enough to work to. Top it off, people have been posting this meme on Twitter, and it's hilarious.
Y'all have to be prepared for what I'm about to show y'all. What I'm about to show y'all is going to kind of piss some people off, but hell, I didn't make it. Look, I didn't make this thing. This is just what is floating around online. Could she end up in a Fever uniform?
Take note of what some fans are saying. It sounds like something from a movie, doesn't it? Chennedy Carter wants to play with Caitlin Clark on the Indiana Fever. Yes, you heard correctly. That's the same Caitlin Clark who Chennedy had that famous run-in with. Let's go back a moment to the push that made everyone talk. Chennedy shoved Caitlin during a game, and the news was all over it.
I don't know, man. I don't think this will ever work. I don't think Chennedy Carter is going to come to the Fever.
People were talking about it nonstop, and now it's getting so out of control that fans are literally photographing Chennedy wearing a Fever jersey.
I don't believe Chennedy Carter is going to get what she wants. Possibly, she could want a max contract or like want to be a premier player. I just think her actions, her emotions might have cost her a bag, bro.
But here's the thing, Kennedy's got game. On paper, she would be a fantastic addition to any club in the league, scoring an average of 17 points per game. However, following that push, her reputation suffered a severe knock. It seems as though she went from hero to zero overnight.
What she did to Caitlin Clark on national television was simply unbelievable, bro. Like, just now I know like there's ways for her to kind of get a name for herself, but just that kind of ruins your stock, bro. Like she really hurt her stock by pushing Caitlin Clark. I really think so. But me personally, I don't think she's going to come to the Fever. I don't think the Fever is going to offer her in any shape, form, or fashion.
You may be thinking that the Fever would never want her after what she did to Clark, and I understand that it seems absurd, but this is where the WNBA talent talks really get interesting. Is it possible that the Fever will put all of that drama aside in order to win? It's not as unlikely as you might think, but let's be honest for a moment. But here's the big question. How has the incident with Caitlin Clark actually affected Kennedy's future in the WNBA? Let's face it, that push didn't just make headlines. It might have completely altered Kennedy's career trajectory. Chennedy Carter and Caitlin Clark playing on the same team after everything that happened sounds insane, right? What are they thinking? It's insane.
I mean, look, maybe she's part of the culture problem, but that's very interesting.
Consider it prior to the incident. Teams would have been lining up to sign Chennedy if she had been on top of the world. But now that she seems to have a big red flag hanging over her head, they are probably reconsidering hiring her, regardless of how good her stats are. This is where it gets really interesting, though. What if joining the Fever is actually Kennedy's best move? I mean, if she could work it out with Caitlin Clark, it would be the ultimate redemption story, and it could completely change how people view her.
Guy was going to bring her back, but maybe she wants to leave, which is the most interesting part of it.
You know what, though?
However, let's take a moment to put an end to the Fever with Kay Clark. Even after everything that happened, it still seems rather crazy, don't you think? I mean, can you image those initial few practices?
Well, what happened to the culture? Who torched the culture? Who's selfish on the team that would cause the culture to melt down? And what's crazy about this is she had Angel Reese's back, and I can't help but wonder, is that what happened here?
However, we may be overlooking the bigger picture here because there is another character in this story that we haven't yet discussed, and she may be the true reason Chennedy wishes to leave Chicago in the first place. Pay attention because that part of the story will blow your mind, okay? Let's discuss Angel Reese, the newest celebrity in Chicago, but is she also the reason Chennedy Carter is searching for a way out? After Angel joins the group, everyone starts discussing issues related to culture. Marina MB leaves now. Kennedy's tweeting about joining other teams. Is this just a crazy coincidence, or is there more going on?
And I can't help but wonder, is that what happened here? Is Angel Reese and the way she wants to play, and I don't know if you've ever noticed her social media posts, but she's very me. Always. Me. You may have a player that has decided that she's had enough of that.
Here's what we know about Angel. She's a star, no doubt, but she's also got this reputation for being, let's say, confident. Some people love it. They think it's precisely what the WNBA needs, while others not so much.
Looking like, to me, from the outside looking in, that these players want to get away from Angel Reese. I just got to keep it real. That's what it's looking like. Chennedy Carter is something that is already been talked about behind the scenes. That is players wanted to get out of Chicago. I don't know what it is going on up there, but as of right now, it ain't looking good. A lot of players want to get the hell out of Chicago.
So what's really happening with Chennedy and Angel? Are they arguing behind the scenes? It's impossible to say for sure, but there are stories flying around. Some say they just can't get along. Others think it's all blown out of proportion.
Can you imagine her wanting to leave a team to get away from somebody? I think it's a valid question to ask. Seriously.
We're hearing stuff, there are whispers coming from the locker room. Nothing specific, but enough to make you worry if Chennedy can handle Angel's style, or if they're fighting over who the team's true star is.
I mean, good luck. Good luck. I don't know who's going to take her. I don't know what teams are going to take her. No, I don't think she's going to the Indiana Fever.
However, if Chennedy is indeed attempting to leave because of Angel, she may be in for a major shock, because what follows will demonstrate how seriously Chennedy may have damaged her own future.
Chennedy Carter can shoot her ass off, but she can also shoot her mouth off and get very rough. She's on, I believe, her third team, maybe fourth team. I think her third team. And if it's not her fourth team, she's already planning on her fourth team.
Consider it. Chennedy is essentially telling the world that she wants to leave Chicago by putting all this drama out there. But what if no other team wants to deal with that? What if they decide that Chennedy isn't worth the trouble after looking at what's happening with this guy? Angel Reese may be appending things in Chicago, but Chennedy Carter may end up paying the price, because in the WNBA, being a good teammate is just as important as having talent, and Chennedy is currently making people question whether she can be both.
Is anybody going to want her? Maybe that's the best question. I mean, certainly there's real attitude issues. If I was a team, I mean, she can score with the lights out. I mean, she's pure offense, a pure shooting guard, scoring guard, instant offense. But if you're a team, do you really want her on the team? I wouldn't.
Chennedy Carter's WNBA future is currently looking somewhat hazy. Recall that teams were vying for her services when she was the league's golden girl, but now it's like crickets out there. Here's the situation. Chennedy is a restricted free agent, meaning that any offer she receives from another team could be matched by the sky, but after that tweet, teams might decide not to even make an offer. Can you believe it? A player who averages 17 points per game, and teams are considering passing on signing her? Why is it all about the drama?
The only coach in the league that wanted to give her a third chance was fired after 1 year. She's going nowhere, as no team wants the cancer in the locker room.
Kennedy's ability to perform, without a doubt, but in the WNBA, teams prefer players who can fit in and won't cause trouble in the locker room over talent. Chennedy currently has drama written all over her. It's as if she's wearing a large flashing sign that trouble is coming. Chennedy has a few options, but none of them are very good. She could swallow her pride and hope that another team will consider her, or she could do something totally different. Some insiders speculate that Chennedy might take a pay cut to demonstrate that she is serious about being a team player. Can you imagine a top player in her prime taking less money to demonstrate that she isn't all about the drama?
Maintenance. The question is, will anybody else take a chance on the female Antonio Brown? Well, I like Antonio Brown a hell of a lot more than Chennedy Carter. As far as I'm concerned, Antonio ought to still be on a team as a third or fourth receiver right now.
If Chennedy plays this correctly, she might turn things around and prove to everyone that she is more than just a troublemaker. But if she plays it wrong, she might end up on the outside looking in. What will be Kennedy's next move that could make or destroy her entire career? Chennedy, will you remain and battle for your place in the skies? Will you risk being taken by another team, or will you take an entirely other approach? Whatever she chooses, there's little doubt that the WNBA is going to get really exciting. Chennedy Carter is at a critical point in her life. Her extraordinary talents are apparent, but her tweets have cast doubt on her future. What is she thinking about at the moment?
Chennedy Carter looks beyond Chicago into taking WNBA free agency. Now, something I do want to say, she is a restricted free agent, by the way. Chicago sky guard Chennedy Carter appears eager to test the WNBA free agency. Man, after pushing Caitlin Clark, I don't know how it's going to do for her, but let's go into this article. The upcoming WNBA free agency period, which began in February 2025, is sure to be hectic.
Chennedy will benefit greatly from this site during the free agency period beginning in February. It's unclear if a team will take a chance on her or if she will be released without a contract. The WNBA is going to get really exciting soon. This story is far from over, and the WNBA has never been this unpredictable. Chennedy could end up anywhere. Perhaps she will work things out with this guy, team up with Caitlin Clark, or surprise us all with something totally unexpected. Are you prepared for the drama that is about to happen? Carter has the power to alter everything.